Checking my game, clocking my grip, talking shit, swallowing spit. Been doing this since I was ankle low to a centipede, toe about knee high to a flat guy. Hey JB, I'ma do this whole song with my pinky finger in the air, nigga.
Checking my game, clocking my grip, talking shit, swallowing spit, 'cause I'm cold.
You have the emergence in human society of this thing that's called the state. What is the state?
Revolution will be televised. I'm New the Mayor, the writer, the rapper, the revolutionary.
I'm JBFRANK. I'm representing NWA, those nerds with attitude. Definitely gotta be gangster geeks.
Two lovely ladies with us tonight. One you should know, one should be familiar. Our former co-host. I'll let you introduce yourself, Mel. You gotta do your tagline. I'm the rapper, the writer, he the nerd with attitude. You gotta do your something. You can be brown as fuck. I don't know.
I am Melanie Dione, aka So Mellow. I have no tagline.
And we have
Just black and proud.
Hey,
works with me. And we have a rookie to the stage joining us tonight. I gave you a tagline, so you should be good with
I don't
that.
have a tagline. What? You're gonna have to say it after I say my name.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Alexis. Pandora Alexis. That's all I got.
This is the gangbanging hippie socialist.
Yeah, be socialist.
That's me. All
All right, and what we're doing today is a little bit different. Of course, we like to have the ladies' perspective on all topics, but we wanted this to be really more like a town hall discussion. So we are on Facebook Live. Shout out to Karima, Big Mike, Keon, and everybody else is watching us on Facebook Live. So you guys can chime in. You'll see me getting up periodically to check their comments so I can read them on the air so that we're getting everybody involved. And we're Facebook Live in the entire show. So you guys can chime in at any point, and I'll get up. Like I said, when I get up, y'all keep the conversation going. I'll find a comment and come back and read it. But aside from that, JB, it's been the last 5 days, I saw a post that said we're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Like all of us.
Post-traumatic slave disorder.
Yeah, it is. And that's really how I feel, JB. I'm really like I've been crying for people I've never met all week. Like it's real, you know.
Yeah, we are at war. Y'all probably remember we signed off for the summer on our last show, but shit just got so real over the last few days. We felt like we needed to speak out. Like it's just so much going on that we had to share our feelings with y'all and give you guys a forum to share your feelings as well.
Absolutely. I guess we should start with something simple. Mel, what was your first thought when you saw the Alton Sterling video?
Well, I was on vacation at the time, and I happened to log on to Facebook, and those of y'all who know me, I'm on Facebook all the time. So I happened to get a lot of my information from Facebook. And so that was where I first saw the story. And I was just completely, in awe of the gall of these police officers when it was so clear to me that this man was, not a real threat to them. But, even when we're not being threatening, we're still viewed as threats simply by the skin that we wear every day.
Yeah.
So, I was very upset. I wasn't surprised, but I was definitely upset. I was definitely like, what the hell? Again? I mean, it's to that point where it's like, again? It happens so often. That's all you can really say is, again?
And that's ironic you said that. That's the same thing Karima said. She said her first thought was, OMG, another brother now. Alexis, what was your first thought?
I mean, it was basically the same thing. Another one, and just thinking about how these police officers might not get indicted either. Even with the tape being out, we know that recordings mean nothing in the court of law when it comes to police officers. But yeah, just that entire day I was just numb. It was just another one, and I was just numb all day. Couldn't really process it. So yeah.
Yeah, JB?
It was tough for me. You know, I heard the news and you think, okay, yeah, it's another one. But then to hear the nature of it, to hear how it went down, and then just the greater terror at the reactions and everything, it's like a nightmare has been playing over and over again in my mind every time I hear about one of these things. And the nightmare gets worse and worse the more I hear about it. Now the nightmares in my head are actually starting to come true. And that just makes it even scarier for me. Every time I kept saying, this is how horrible it would be if it got worse. Like, that stuff is actually starting to happen now. You know, it's just really hard to deal with.
Yeah, when I saw the initial video, my first thought was, how are they gonna get over with this? How are they gonna get off this time? What are they gonna say this time? Because I'm watching the video and I see one officer has his right wrist, the other one has his knee on his left wrist, and I'm like, so he wasn't. If he had a gun, which I'm pretty sure at this point he did, but if he did have a gun, he wasn't able to get to it. If you get both wrists pinned down, he wasn't gonna hip shoot you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at that point, I'm looking and I see the officer shoot him 2-3 times, and then he yells, get down on the ground now. And I'm thinking, you shot him, he's dying or dead, now you're yelling, get down on the ground. He's on the ground, on his back. And then you shoot him 2 more times. So I said, they didn't know there was gonna be a video. They thought it was just audio. So if you hear, now he has a gun, so you hear pow, pow, then you hear, get down, pow, pow. You can pretty much say, that was probably a shootout.
Right.
He may have shot first, the cops yelled at him, he didn't stop, then they shot him, but it was video. And then I see the cop on the ground, just all said and done, he just goes, oh, fuck. And I'm like, what were you tired from?
Right.
It was 2 of y'all holding him down and you shot him. He's been lifeless for at least 40 seconds, and now you're like, I'm exhausted. That workout, like, there was no workout. You ran, tackled him, threw him on the ground. Tased him.
Here's the thing: Louisiana is an open carry state. So even if he did have a gun, you know, it's an open carry state. And another thing, okay, so I keep seeing like black people comment on it. Oh well, he was a convicted sex offender. He shouldn't have had a weapon on him in the first place. But that wasn't known information at the time. So it's not like they went into this situation knowing that he was a convicted sex offender and that he shouldn't have had a weapon on him in the first place. You know what I'm saying? They just went into this situation basically looking for someone. These are police officers who have a history of having this behavior. They've been disciplined for this before. So it's not like, you know, they're completely innocent. They're new to being police officers. They're not trained. No, these are seasoned veterans. They've been around for a while, you know? And so it's just upsetting. But it was one thing that was kind of, I guess, a good thing for me was to hear that the store owner was so, you know, open and willing to come forward and say, you know, that he had recorded a video himself. He didn't want the police taking the video surveillance footage that he had in his store, and they, you know, went ahead and just took it anyway while they had him detained. You know, so it's just interesting the things that they go through to try to skew the views and make it seem like they had no wrongdoing. When the video surveillance footage is there, you know, we have now two different sets of video showing that one, like they had this man pinned on the ground. One arm was like pinned underneath him, underneath another officer, and the other one was like controlled by another officer. And so at no point in time was this man actually reaching for a gun, reaching for his weapon. It's so obvious, but they weren't banking on that. So
shout out to the New York Daily News, because they took the picture, blew it up, and highlighted it where one hand was this way and one hand was that way, and they were like, "There's no way in hell they had to shoot him." I guess there's no way in hell.
no way.
Unfortunately, that's only the first shooting that's taken place over the last 4 days. And we all know about the second one, which was Phillando Castile in the car. There were also 2 more. And there were 2 hangings. We're going to get into all of that and a lot more. We're going to go through some more comments from our Facebook Live folks. Everybody wave your Facebook Live.
Hi, Facebook Live.
We're definitely taking in your comments into consideration. We have some people who are going to Skype in You'll see them up there. For our Facebook Live viewers, you can't see the background footage on the green screen. You won't be able to see the person Skyping in, but you'll be able to hear them. And for people tuning in on the website, we appreciate you on our Ustream page. I want to come back and kind of break down what happened in Dallas. I want to break down the Phillando Castile situation. And then I want to kind of go into what we're going to do moving forward. And I want all of us to have a chance to really speak on everything. So, ladies, get ready. JB, get ready.
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
We put together a couple of videos that kind of spoke to this. We didn't want to turn this into like a revolution show, like have everybody watch this and go outside and act out. So it's a good balance of inspirational music, something that will give you some hope, and something that's going to make you say, look, man, enough is enough. And I think that's the combination we need. Those are the three feelings I feel. I feel like I'm going to be hopeful that I can do something and we can do something. I'm upset, so I'm going to be vigilant. And I'll see that.
The way that you encounter that you conquer fear is with information and inspiration, and that's what we're here to provide today. It's a tough time for all of us, and we're trying to help all of us move on. So enjoy the music, and we'll come right back with more inspiration.
Yeah, this is a classic. This is KRS-One with Oh Yeah. So this is like in the 90s. It's like a JBFRANK, aka the Black CNN. The revolution will be televised. Next, I don't want to say next. It sounds so cold, but I want to go into the Phillando Castile situation and get you guys' thoughts on that. I'll frame it this way. When I initially saw the video, shout out to Cecil. Cecil posted the video. And I watched the first 30 seconds, and I was like, is this real? Or is this like what? I'll watch it tomorrow. That's literally what I said. I don't know if this is real or not. This is Facebook Live, so I don't, you know what I'm saying, whatever. I'll look at it tomorrow. I can't take no more. If it is real, I'm gonna be pissed. So I'm gonna go to sleep. I woke up the next day, and I want to say, I think it was a mail. Somebody commented and was like, yeah, it's real. And I was like, let me watch it. And I was like, yeah. Because when I first saw it, I saw the cop, and I was just like, I couldn't tell if it didn't feel real to me. It seemed surreal. So I was like, I don't know if this is like one of those jokes, one of those Facebook video movies, whatever, pranks, whatever. And I was shocked that it was real. Amazingly, I was shocked. And then I kind of started seeing, well, before I go into that, I'll stop there. I was shocked that it happened so quickly after the initial incident with Alton Sterling, and I was shocked that she was Facebook Living it. I always thought to myself, if I get pulled over on Facebook Live,
You've actually said that on the show.
That's where I'm going with it. So to see somebody actually do it, and when she was saying, "Did you just kill my boyfriend?" I was like, "Okay, she's being dramatic. If they shot him in the arm, he's going to die." But I get what she's doing. And then he died, and I was like, it was like one time when you want to go, okay, they did this, but maybe they had a reason for this. So I try not to be too much like, every time the police do something is wrong. I try not to be that person, so I'm trying to figure out, well, what happened in the car, this, that. Then there was a baby in the car, a little girl in the car at the same time. Like, what do you think he was doing with his daughter and girl in the car? He was about to act out? He's about to start the revolution right there? Nah, he was probably being this, hey, I have a gun on me, I have my permit, we grab your license, bang, bang, bang. I'm pretty damn well sure he wasn't going to do something crazy with his daughter in the car. Because at that point, you're like, I got to protect my daughter and my girl. So whatever, obviously, whatever you need, don't touch my, you know what I'm saying, my family. And I just was disgusted that little girl saw it, and what the mother went through, what his girl went through, and how the daughter, everybody talks about the daughter comforting the mother at the end of the video. Completely blown away by it. Some people seem to be a little on the fence with Alton Sterling. They got a lot of arguments about whether his guilt or not. everybody was talking about Phillando Castile and what happened there. Alexis, I'm gonna throw it to you. What were your thoughts when you initially saw that video?
Well, honestly, when I first heard about Phillando Castile's murder, I did not want to watch the video at all. I just couldn't believe that there was yet another one less than 48 hours from when Alton Sterling was murdered. So I ended up about 30 minutes after deciding not to watch the video. I decided that I needed to watch the video because I need to be a witness to what is happening to our people in this nation, and I can't shield my eyes from what is currently going on. So when I first turned on the video, what first hit me was the fact that after he had shot this man 4 times, the fact that he still had his gun pointed at him, still frightened of this man, even though he had just dispatched his weapon 4 times into this man's body. You can see the man is not moving at all. Phillando is not doing anything except for being in crazy amount of pain. And the fact that he's still pointing his gun at Phillando and he's screaming, I told him not to move. And she responds, no, sir, you asked him to reach for his wallet. You asked him to reach for his license and registration. And it just really hit me that, the fact that she was so calm and she was able to keep her voice at a certain respectful level, even though the father of her child is dying and her child has been taken out of the car at this point by the police and is in the arms of a group that has murdered the father of her child. Honestly, I couldn't watch the entire thing. I ended up skipping through about 3 minutes of it because I just couldn't take it. And I did end up watching the end of the video, and it did hit me really hard that the child was, when her mother finally did break down from the amount of emotions that had happened, just witnessing the father of her child be murdered in cold blood. The fact that the child was strong enough to say, I'm here with you, mommy. That really struck me, That was terrible, the fact that this child had to watch her law-abiding father get murdered and then have to be there to support her mother who finally broke down under all the stress. It was an immensely horrifying video, and whereas I had been numb when I heard about Alton Sterling, this video made me, I was full of rage at this point. Something has to change, and that's what happened when I watched the video.
It's really really difficult as a father, as a taxpayer, as a law-abiding citizen, as a businessman, as an individual who has voted for local government, an individual who has contributed to the fellowship, the brotherhood of police, or whatever that thing is, to look around and see this, because you start to get disillusioned. Like there is, it is a horrible tragedy. But as a black man, when you see this, it's like all of the things my father told me to do in these situations are completely ineffective. None of it is working. These people are completely compliant most of the time. The times where they are construed to have reacted, you can clearly see that a switch is flipped and they are in self-preservation mode. You can clearly see these people are like, I'm about to die. Like, now it's no longer how do I keep from offending this police officer. It becomes, oh my God, I need to survive this attack. Like, that is literally what is happening. There's nothing that can be more terrifying to see people in uniform do this. Think about all the apartheid stories we read, all of the stories we've read and lived through our parents' voices about the South, about the Middle East, about what has happened in certain reaches in Africa. That is happening right now in the United States. You can't call it anything else, dude.
You really can't. I mean, like down to the I can't breathe. We had somebody choking them, and their response is I can't breathe. You just keep going. Like imagine that thought when you realize like this in the worst way possible right now, and you're not even fighting no more. You're just like, yo, I can't breathe. Like you got it. Like
Yeah,
now,
please stop.
just yeah. Before we're gonna kind of talk about the big picture, but before we dive into that, Mel, I wanted to get your take on the Phillando Castile murder. Let's call it what it is.
Once again, Facebook, you brought me the message. I was sitting there with my sister and her best friend, surrounded by family, on vacation still, and I just once again logged in and was like, wait a minute, somebody else got killed less than 24 hours later. This is ridiculous. Are you kidding me right now? And just remember seeing the video and my sister's best friend showing her the video, and my sister just being totally turned off by it and not wanting to see it. But I want to see everything, so my nosy self, I started looking at the video, and I'm just like, my jaw just completely dropped. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I can't believe this man was just killed right here live on Facebook, and I think that's what made it hurt that much more, that we actually saw his last moments alive right there on Facebook Live, and how Facebook had been trying to take the video down, and it hurt me that much more. But at the same time, like I was angry, I wanted to cry, but I was numb at the same time because it is happening so frequently. It's like I can't even get too overwhelmed and worked up. I'm still angry, you know what I'm saying? I'm still worked up, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, it happens so often. Like, shit, what are we really gonna do? Like, what are we really gonna do, y'all? Like, what are we really going to do? And I've just had enough. And so now I'm like, it's time we gotta act. We can no longer sit here and just let this happen. I know I have friends of every nationality, and they are seeing it and they are feeling it too. It's not just us, but it was nice to see everybody wake up at the same time. Yeah. Everybody got upset. So that's how I felt about that one. But that one hurt that much more, especially learning so much more about him as a man, and learning that he was such a good person and that he knew all those kids at that school. He was giving them extra food if they needed it. And knowing all of their names, and everybody has so many positive things to say about him, and how the governor of Minnesota had the balls to come out and say that if this was if their skin was a different color, this would not have happened that way.
Right.
That took a lot of guts for him to come out and say that.
Because Barack didn't have the same guts.
We'll
talk about him later. He's not getting up. Look, the New Demand Show with JBFRANK has been a staunch supporter of Barack Obama. We were, I don't know how instrumental we were. We were huge proponents of his re-election campaign. We went ahead the show for years. And we became the black CNN through our efforts to try to get Barack re-elected. We were more in sports and entertainment news, but we felt like we had to take a chunk of this show and get into politics.
Dedicated to politics.
Because of Obama trying to get him re-elected.
Yes, we did.
And now we're the black CNN, and I've never been more disappointed. Like almost ever.
It's been disgusting listening to his responses, and I understand he's a president, he's got to be PC, but at the same time, you are the leader of the free world and the face of many black people. I know a lot of black people don't like President. I'm not gonna say a lot, but some black people feel the way towards President Obama. They feel like he hasn't done enough. But to hear him come out and basically be so PC about everything, and then kind of now we're in a state of emergency because five officers died. Meanwhile, hundreds of black people have died. But now we're in a state of emergency. Now it's an emergency when 5 officers died. What were we doing beforehand?
Exactly.
We've been at war.
And we're going to get into what happened in Dallas. We're going to talk about that at length. I think now it's time for some healing, JB. Let's bring up some Marvin Gaye. I want to go into Mercy, Mercy Me. Marvin Gaye, I think, is one of the most prolific artists of all time, born and raised in D.C. The ongoing joke is Marvin Gaye is my biological father. That's how much I love him.
I don't know.
How much I love
Tell
his
us
message.
that joke.
Just me.
I think so.
The revolution is being televised.
Right
Shout
here
out to
and now.
Right now.
everybody on Ustream, everybody on Facebook Live. Shout out to Karima. She's had some excellent questions. Shout out to everybody that's been watching the show on Ustream or Facebook Live. I appreciate all the comments that are coming in. Let's go there now. Let's go to Dallas and the protests there that resulted in 5 officers being murdered and I think a total of 11 people being injured. I'm gonna say how I feel. My views, the news and new, the mayor do not reflect new mayor show with JBFRANK, Alexis, or Melanie, or JB. They're strictly news views. I didn't care, and I don't care. My heart is cold. I do have a vengeful spirit in my heart right now. I don't care if they were innocent or not. I personally don't care if they were the good cops or not. I'm tired of my people being murdered and persecuted. And something has to be done to at least make people think. Now, I can't be more fearful of a police officer or police retaliation than I am already. So, I mean, it is what it is. If they're going to get me, they're going to get me. That's what's going to happen. But I am not Martin Luther King. I grew up under Malcolm X. And you can't continue to kill my people and have nothing happen. You can't continue to do it and get off and expect nothing to happen. You can't continue to do it, get off, and laugh in our face and expect nothing to happen. You can't continue to do it, get off, laugh in our face, and then auction the weapon for millions of dollars and live happily. Why is George Zimmerman still alive?
Oh, why is he still? I'm sorry.
Just had to ask that. Maybe the anger should be redirected from those Dallas cops to George Zimmerman. Maybe that's what we're in agreement.
We got an amen chord.
But I ran out of tears. I did a lot of crying for Phillando Castile and Alton Sterling this week. And the black man that was hung in Marietta, not too far from where we are now. I did a lot of crying this week. I'm just fresh out of tears. When my tear ducts fill back up, maybe I'll be able to cry for those Dallas police officers. And I'm kind of crying for Mika Johnson right now because apparently we blow people up now. I thought we arrested people and took them to Burger King.
No, and
I thought that was the
no
format.
trial.
Don't we normally arrest them and then take them to Burger King?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we normally do?
Yeah, that's what we do to white people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we do to white people. The Dallas shootings terrified me. I felt, like you said, I felt no empathy, frankly, for the police officers. Or I really didn't. One of the things that police officers keep saying is, it's my job to get home safe. I got to get home to my family. Bruh, no, your job is to protect and serve the community. And that's why taxpayers pay their money. That's why you are accorded the respect and authority that our governments have given you. Your job is not to go home, dog. If that's what you're thinking, then any threat that you see anywhere is whatever. I gotta get home. I don't give a fuck about these people.
Well, if you remember, they used to have that on the side of their cars to protect and serve. That used to be what they did, but now that's been ripped off. That's not a concern anymore.
It's not.
That's not a
They train them
concern.
to protect themselves.
Mhm.
They don't
Yeah.
train them to protect the community.
So I got scared because I knew that it was going to escalate matters. Like it is now a direct physical. It always was for us, but this will only escalate it. This will only make it worse. This legitimizes every psychotic threat these assholes feel, and that terrifies me as a black man.
I felt like it was total bullshit because I feel like the government, and I may sound crazy, I may sound like some conspiracy theorist, fuck it, it is what it is. But I definitely don't think that the government is above creating an event to create mass hysteria and to totally kill the whole movement before it even really gains any legs, and before we can actually really get the ball rolling. And declare martial law. Like, I really feel like they may have created this whole event. First of all, nobody's come forward. Nobody knows this dude. This is a sniper.
25
We don't have like civilian snipers. He's former military. I get that. So I'm like, I just don't feel like the government is above, you know, like staging an event. I totally think that they created this shit, you know, for us to feed into and to really serve their cause, whatever it is, because they want to kill this whole Black Lives Matter movement. This shit is like the new Black Panthers to them. They don't want to see this gain any ground, any legs, get any momentum going. So I was frustrated by it. I don't feel like it's the answer. Like if it isn't one of those things and somebody is acting alone, you know, to create this friction between the police and civilians, I just don't trust it. I don't know. I really don't. But it's not the answer. Killing the cops is not the answer. It's not gonna solve anything. It's just, like you said, it's just gonna make it worse. That's not the way to go.
I have a tidbit I want to throw in there about Mika Johnson and his so-called affiliations with Alexis. I want to give you a chance to speak.
Sure. I mean, the way I felt about the police, I don't have a lot of empathy for them. Just because you put that suit on every day, you know what your job is, you know what risks you're taking. You're first and foremost, you should be protecting the public. But the reason I do feel, you know, some type of empathy for these, you know, men that were murdered is because I feel like they died for a higher cause. You know, I really don't believe that a Black Lives Matter, you know, participant went and sniped these men. The way that this was carried out, the accuracy that was, you know, that happened, that's assassin level to me. You picked out 11, I think only 2 bystanders were hit, 2 out of 11. That's assassin to me. So, you know, the fact that the pictures that they have published of Michael Johnson have not been his military pictures, but have been him with a dashiki and his fist up. To me, I think that, you know, those people that are higher up and are controlling the world, because there are those people, I can sound like a conspiracy theorist, but that's just the truth of it. You find out when documents get declassified all the time that there are people higher up pulling strings to create mass hysteria. So the way that I feel about it is that when Phillando Castile was murdered, that brought a lot of white people into it, saying, you know, comments to the NRA, why haven't you all said anything? You know, it became a unification between not only just blacks, where it was, oh, just Black Lives Matter. A lot of white people came out and said, you know what, this is wrong. He was obeying the law. This was a clear disrespect of his civil rights and his civil liberties. So to me, they made this event happen. They murdered 5 men. They made them martyrs for their own cause. In order to incite a racial war, because then it becomes, oh, well, now Black Lives Matter, you know, and Obama, because Obama is the big bad wolf in every single situation when it comes to Black Lives Matter. These people are thugs, they're gangsters, you know, they're hoodlums, they want to murder the police. That's what they're trying to do next. When, you know, overwhelmingly Black Lives Matter have peaceful protests where we just want, you know, there's just wanting to be a dialogue. You know, let's start to figure out what we're doing. And I think that unification really scares them. You know, Dr. King was not assassinated for his nonviolence message. He was assassinated for saying we need to all come together. This isn't just a black issue. This is all of our issues. Ever since slavery times, you know, it's always been, you know, black people and poor white people could come together, but it's always been divisive because they know if that unification happens between, you know, everybody in this nation who's poor, you know, because it's really the rich against the poor. As long as you can keep them racially segregated, you know, in their culture at least, you know, because you want to be integrated for the money, but they're always going to stage these kinds of things to create a race war and to create, you know, I'm going to be against them, while really, if we came together, we could really incite real change in this nation. But as we see, since Donald Trump is now the Republican nominee, you know, that's race is always going to be the dividing factor. They're always going to make it us against them. So that's really how I feel about the assassination of those 5 police officers. I really believe that they were used in an attempt to create, you know, more segregation and more disrespect for the Black Lives Matter movement.
I agree. It's amazing that they blew. I didn't know we had robots. I didn't know we blew people up. I thought we arrested them and took them to Burger King, like I said. Now they're fanning a picture of Michael Johnson with Professor Griff from Public Enemy. And now they're going after Public Enemy, the rap group, because there's a picture of Michael Johnson with Professor Griff. And Professor Griff is on Instagram and the internet saying, y'all, the FBI they've tapped my phone, they've been harassing me nonstop. If I wind up dead,
That's what happened.
like know what's going on. They are after me. They have shown me that they are after me. I don't know Michael Johnson. I'm sure Professor Griff takes a lot of pictures with people. He's a
Right.
celebrity.
Yeah.
He's like, they coming for me, don't let them get me. I don't know what's going on, but I'm speaking out now. So if something funny happens to me, everybody knows what's going on. And I saw that and I was like, God damn.
It's real.
Like, it's really, really real.
It's a war.
It's a war.
It's a war. It's a war.
That is the segue we're going to take right now. Thank you guys for tuning in on Ustream and on Facebook Live. We are not done. We're going to take one final music break. Then we're going to come back and talk about some solutions. Because that's what we've been doing. We've been talking about solutions off the air for, I guess, since the last week or so. We've been trying to put things together. We've come up with a few. They need to be tweaked. But we've come up with a few things that we want to share with you guys and what we think we need to do going forward. And we're not going to be bound by time tonight. We're just not. So let's take a quick break. Everybody run to the bathroom or whatever you got to do and come back. It's solution time. It's nation time. That's like one of the old 60s cries out. It's nation time. JB, take us to Bob Marley. This song is called War. It is actually a speech, a Haile Selassie speech. It's a great speech. And Bob Marley turned it into a song. And this is Bob Marley singing it live. And I think we have a Ustream. Chanel, I got to check in with you, see if you're ready to come on. And but let's go ahead and Alright, so we are back. We are live. We are the New The Mayor Show with JBFRANK, aka the Black CNN. And we have a special Skype guest in. I call her Chanel East Coast. What up, boo? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Oh,
Hey.
hi.
Okay. Now, I know you wanted to comment when I put up the post saying we were going to be doing this. You said, "Hey, I got something I need to say. I got something I want to say. I want to be involved." So I'm gonna give you the floor, and then we're gonna kind of respond to whatever point you bring up. So the floor is yours, Chanel. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can't see Chanel. If you're watching on the website, of course you see her right there. But everybody should be able to hear her. So Chanel, talk to us.
Okay, so basically what my whole point is, I have friends that are cops, okay? And I very dearly, and we were just talking today, and I just basically thanked them that they are cops, and they, you know, they go out every day and they put their lives on the line. But I don't really see them taking up for the fact that what's wrong, it's wrong. I don't get that from them too much, and I'm not trying to put them on blast or anything like that, but that's the part I'm not seeing from the cops. And all three of my friends are. So my thing is, when you take off your uniform, you're black. You know, that's where I stand at. Like, you're black. Not only that, not only are you black, but your kids are black. You know what I'm saying? So no one is walking around here with anything written on their foreheads or name tags saying that I am the son or daughter of officer so-and-so. So because these cops, from what the videos that I saw over the last couple of weeks, they're not giving anybody the time to themselves or pull out their that they're asking for before our act. So that's where I stand at. What happens before cops actually take a stand? And I know that there are some exceptions to the rules, and I know that there are cops that are standing up and speaking out, but at the same time, I'm not seeing enough of it. I'm not seeing enough of it. And that's what hurts me the most, because when you take off your uniform, like I said, you're still black. Your skin doesn't change. Your uniform, yes, you're blue when you put on your uniform, but when you take it off, or who's to say that if you go on vacation to another state, you know, and something happens and the cop pulls you over, do you have a code word to let this other cop know that you're a cop because your uniform isn't on, you know? And there's an exception to the rules that you have to start at home, well, to support before we can go, you know, have all races join in. But if you, now you're starting to see all these races starting to stand up and realize that black lives are not as valued as other lives, like white lives, pretty much. They're just not. And so I don't understand why we are a threat to these cops or to other races when we don't even have that freedom that America is so gung-ho about. All these other countries, they stress to come over to America because they feel as if that this is the land of the free. It's not. At least not being black, it's not. And I have to, you know, I don't want to go against any of my cop friends or any cops, but I have to stand up today for my tomorrow, any of my future children. Just like they need to stand up for them. Like no one is out here wearing the thing written across their forehead, anything like that identifies them of a police officer. So when do we hear more from police officers? That is my number one question. When are we going to hear more from police officers that are going to stand up and say what's wrong is wrong, this is wrong, and how can we change it, and then come together as a human race and fix it?
Yeah, Chanel, you brought up a lot of good points. I kind of want to summarize it so we can go back to them. So one, we need our fellow officers, whether they're black or white, just other officers to speak out, the good officers, I guess, to speak out against the quote-unquote bad officers. We need that. I saw one young lady speak out, and everybody thought she got fired, but she didn't. Suspended, but she didn't, there was no disciplinary action. She wanted to give a press conference to a couple of reporters saying that, you know, she spoke out. She didn't want to, you know, shit on her team or fraternity, but she felt like something had to be said. So she said it. And she said, I'm not too big on attention. Like, I got people retweeting it and calling me and Facebooking me and like, hey, I'm just a regular person. Right. I'm not the savior. And I call him Silverback. That's in our group. He's an officer. He's always speaking out, always on the front line. So much respect to Silverback. And that was one thing she spoke on. I think we do need that. I think policing police is what needs to happen.
Definitely. Honestly. But the problem is they're often ostracized and, you know, there's always some sort of repercussions and things that happen to them as a result of coming forward and speaking out against their co-workers and comrades and stuff like that. There's always some sort of retaliation, some form of retaliation.
You know what I thought it would really happen? Do you guys remember about 8-9 months ago, black off-duty cop was killed by another cop?
Back home?
It was in DC or New York? I thought it was in New York.
I thought there was one. I know there was one in PG County, or well, it might have been DC. Some dude who like went into the police station and started shooting it up, and then the police started shooting back at him, but they inadvertently killed another off-duty police officer.
I mean,
well, that happened too.
Oh, well, yeah. No, this is a guy. This is routine traffic stop.
Right.
But it was a cop.
Right.
And so they were like, you know, license, registration, blah blah blah, and then they killed him. And like, oops, he was an off-duty cop.
Right.
And I thought that was going to be
on precinct too.
Right.
So, you know,
I thought that was going to be the thing that had the police officers stand up. Like, you are killing us. Like, we're the boys in blue, and your racist ass is killing us. But there are New York cops speaking out now. It came out today, where they're saying that they know for a fact that white officers were targeting minorities. That they know it and they've known it, but they've been too afraid to say something. That came out today. I haven't fully vetted the story, so I'm not going to cite it or anything, and then want to make it a topic. But it did come out today. I want to see how it plays out in mainstream news over the next day or so before I jump on it. But to Chanel's point about cops speaking out, I think we all agree that does need to happen.
Because if you're a police officer and you know that there are dirty cops in your precinct, and you don't say anything, you are a dirty cop too. Like, your silence is speaking volumes. That means you're condoning that behavior. And I understand you don't want to deal with the repercussions that come with it, but you're still being a dirty cop. You're a bad cop too.
I agree. Chanel, thank you for calling in. Was there anything that, any last thing you wanted to address or get our thoughts on before we let you go?
That's pretty much it. I just feel like, yes, we do need to clean up what's at home first, and that's supporting each other, and raising our children to understand that, our lives matter as well. But at the same time, we should still kind of raise our children to be blind to color, not to forget about where we came from. But, I think that unity is where we need to start at, but we do need to start within the Black community with ourselves. And as we get to that, and we clean that up, then I think, it can start with us just becoming a human race and banding together and figuring out that all lives matter. Because
All right, Chanel, thank you for your comment. Thank you for calling in. Hop back on Facebook Live. We're about to go in heavy with our solution talk. All right?
yeah,
All right, babe. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Chanel, East Coast, back home in DMV. She said a lot, and I want to address as much as we can, but we do have to kind of keep it moving. JB, I wanted you quickly to speak on something as an African-American man who has an African-American son. What are the things that you're saying? What are the things that you're going to be saying? I mean, because he's a kid, so he's not driving. These issues don't affect him today. But what do you think is going to be the conversation you're having with him, or the conversation that we might have with Jeremy or with Sam or with whoever? Like, frame that conversation for me a little bit, and then we got a long list to run down before we get out of here. But I do want you to frame that because Karima did ask that question.
Yeah, it was a very important question Karima asked, and thank you for that. And to be perfectly frank with you, the plan of action, the course of action, the steps we need to take for me starts with our youth, and with speaking to them about what is going on and the trials that we're facing. So what I am telling my son is, I'm telling my son some of the things that Daddy has to deal with day to day. I'm riding in the car with him sometimes, and a Mustang or a Porsche or something goes whizzing by real fast on the highway. Daddy, go faster. No, Daddy can't drive fast on the streets now because, you beautiful children are no longer a safety net anymore. You used to, I used to call the mother of my children and my kids kind of like my get out of jail free card. Like, they're not going to drag me out of the car with my kids in the car. I literally used to say that, y'all. Like, they're not going to drag me out of the car in front of my children. No,
They don't care.
No. It's a scary conversation to have with an 8-year-old child. You almost have to instill in them a healthy respect for the police, but it is not a respect of like this authority figure who's going to protect you, who's going to save you. I'm teaching my son to respect the police like you respect a powerful enemy, like you respect a threat. I talked about my son about the way I move around police officers. I talked to my nephew, Jeremy, about the way I move around police officers. How the same way he's checking me out for weapons, I'm checking where his weapons are too and where his hands are. And I'm not, sly about it either. I address him directly. Hello, officer so-and-so. How are you today? Again, with eye contact. I am not a threat to you. I see that you are here, and I want you to see that I am here. So it can't be no bullshit about I ran up on you or I came out of nowhere or none of that. Now, none of this is going to save my life, New. None of this is going to save Jeremy's life or Sam's life or my son's life. But it gives us a shot. You know what I'm saying? you got to understand, we're dealing with a war here. So you got to understand the psychology of your enemy, his body language. And you got to be ready to move and react immediately because your life is on the line, you know?
Yeah, and I just want to caution, you got to take every situation for what it is, because in some of those situations, you don't want to say nothing to them. Mm-hmm. You don't want to say hi. You don't want to address them. You don't want to speak. You want to get low. So it's going to be a situation.
I'm saying what I do. I'm saying what I do.
And I'm giving the other side.
Yeah.
So I think it's good in certain environments to make those acknowledgments. Sometimes it's good to just stay where the hell you are. Let them stay where the hell they are.
You're absolutely
so
right.
You gotta discern that yourself, fellas, ladies. I wanted to go into some solutions before I go down this list and we talk about this. Is there anything that we've missed that we should be talking about now?
I wanted to address the whole raise your children colorblind thing because I don't believe in that at all. I want my children to know that they are black. I want them to know our struggle. I want them to know where we came from, that even through slavery, which was a very small part of our history, that even through slavery that we're still here and we're flourishing, even though the laws have been made to keep us down from when we were considered 3/5 of a man up until now, where we are still in the struggle currently. So I just wanted to say that I am not at all a proponent of raising my children colorblind. I need them to understand that they're black. I need them to understand that they're powerful. I need them to understand that the state is challenged by them, and I need them to understand how they have to move differently in the world. I'm a graduate of an HBCU, and I was raised, knowing about my race, but kind of, sticking it to the side. I didn't really think about it. I tried not to really pay attention to it. And once I went to my HBCU and I was taught the pride of, my race and taught the history of my race. And I was taught that in order to get the same respect as, a white man, you're going to have to work 4 times as hard as he would have to. Knowing that because I'm a black American that I have to work that hard, that really gave me a one-up over other people, because I see plenty of black Americans who will do the same as a white American and not get nearly as far. So to know that because of my skin color, I have to work harder, I have to move differently throughout the world, I have to understand that the others are not going to understand my experience, I think that's a benefit to our children. And I think that that's what you have to instill in them, is that you are different. And you are different and it is powerful, but you have to show that. You have to respect yourself. You have to represent your race. And sometimes when I want to say something, but I know that I have to bite my tongue at this particular moment because I don't want it to be misconstrued as, something that's bad about, because we're representing black people. Unfortunately, a white person can act individually and be considered an individual, but the way that we are is that if he does something over there, I'm going to be judged for it as well. So I just think that we all need to be aware of our race and we need to look at it as power, but we also need to understand how we have to move differently in the world because of it. So that's my
very, very well said. I 100% agree. Mel, is there anything you wanted to throw in before we toss in these solutions and we get out of here?
Not really. I totally agree with what Alexis said. Just taking pride in being black and raising your children that way. My upbringing was a little different. I grew up in PG County, which is a predominantly black county, and both my parents my mom is a graduate of Howard University. My dad attended Howard University. Bison salute.
I attended HU as well.
I am a graduate of Howard University. My sister is
I'm
a
an
graduate
attendee
of Hampton University. So it's always been instilled in me to take pride in being black, So to take pride in being black, being aware of your blackness, and still being able to love and appreciate people who are not black. Mm-hmm. So that's just my thing. I just want to make sure that we do raise our children to see the world that way, because I'm very conscious and aware of my blackness, and my pride in being black does not make me anti-white.
There it is.
Exactly.
There it is.
Boom.
Exactly.
There it is.
Pro-black does not mean anti-white.
That is a huge.
That's not what it means.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
I just want to be treated fair.
Well,
That's all.
Just don't want to be shot.
Yeah.
Don't want to die.
Now, what we've done is we've started an initial list of things that we think we should do. I don't know what we call it, how to survive as a black person in America. I don't know what I will frame it. Nation building. These are a few things. We need ideas from you guys on Ustream and you guys on Facebook Live. But these are a couple things that we think are important. I'll throw one out there, and somebody maybe can expound on it, and then we'll just kind of keep it moving so we can let everybody get back to their lives. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Educating ourselves on war and survival. There are books that I read, 48 Laws of Power, The Art of War, 33 Strategies of War. It's just that goes to, I guess, into being able to feed yourself. And our suggestion is everybody learn to grow a vegetable. Get some seeds, whether it's mustard seed or potato, whatever it is. Get you some seeds, tomatoes, and some dirt, and grow a vegetable. We all need to learn how to grow a vegetable.
And there's no excuse, because I started a garden on my patio in my apartment. You can buy the little patio garden box from Home Depot and start you a garden. I started one with tomatoes, basil, green peppers, oregano, chives. You know, I had all kinds of things going in there. Now my garden is like flourishing. My tomato plant is huge. My basil plant is like great.
Mojitos?
Yes.
Yes.
I got a tomato plant and a lime tree right outside.
Yeah, there's no excuse. You can totally grow your own food, y'all.
Right.
It's doable.
Yeah,
it's
at this
totally
point,
doable. Shout out to my third grade teacher who started my first plant. It's the tonic. I love it.
With us four growing different things, we can have our own meal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like really, we can feed ourselves outside of the Safeways, the Giants, the Krogers, the Publix, and that's something that we need to be prepared for. I'm going to challenge every man and woman watching this now to go with your significant other to the gun range. I think you should buy weapons. Start off, just go to the gun range. They have weapons there.
Train yourself.
Go through the training class. Then you got to do the training class before they allow you to participate. in it.
Right.
Learn how to
Lawfully buy a weapon. Lawfully
And
buy a
lawfully
weapon.
buy a weapon.
Lawfully.
Acquire a license
Under-
and dispose of it. You know, you use it safely.
And I'm not saying go out there and do anything with it. I'm saying have it for protection in case you need it.
Right.
And you should know how to operate it. And I think that's the first, educate yourself on war and survival. Be able to feed yourself and be able to protect yourself. And men, we definitely have to be able to protect our women and our kids. So this is an extra priority for us. But ladies, that still holds you to a standard where you need to be able to do it as well. But fellas, like,
I think just to one more point to that, better educate yourself on how to react in crisis situations. You know, learn how to read threatening body language. There are books that can tell you how to do that. Learn how to respond to threatening body language. Again, these are not things that are going to save your life, but God forbid you get in a crisis situation. Make sure that you are prepared for that situation such that you give yourself the best chance of survival.
couldn't have said it better, JB. Number 2, buy and bank black. I'm gonna throw this to Mel because Mel has been a proponent of this for a while. So Mel, let's talk about buying black and banking black.
Okay. Well, I got the idea from Killer Mike. He's been very vocal about this since like February of this year, and I really jumped on it a lot when I went to go see Hidden Colors 4. Make sure all of you go see all of the Hidden Colors. Don't buy it on Google. But anyway, that's a totally different subject.
No, that's buy black.
Yeah, it is by black.
It is by black.
So
yeah.
buy black,
So,
buy all 4 Hidden Colors.
yes, at least go see it.
Not
I mean, it's
bootleg.
really good. So, but in any case, but he spoke a lot about investing in black banks, and if it were to be like, for instance, in the Atlanta area, there's a crap ton of black people here, and if 1 million black people took $100, we're not telling you to shut down your bank accounts at those main financial institutions. I'm not telling you to leave Bank of America. I'm not telling you to leave Wells Fargo. I'm not telling you to leave SunTrust. But what I am telling you to do is open up a bank account at a black-owned bank. If you're in DC, it's Industrial Bank. If you're here in Atlanta, we have Citizens Trust. We have, I want to say it's called Capital City. That's another black-owned bank here. There are 22 black-owned banks across the country. So I encourage you, and credit unions as well. So I encourage you all to do your research, even if it does cost you some ATM fees, to be able to withdraw money, I still encourage you to bank black. Move $100 of your money into a black-owned bank, and that way we can take that money and then build our communities with that money. Because that's $100 million that they will then have to use to lend for other people to build homes and open businesses and things like that. And it's so important for you to buy at black-owned businesses. I like to share when I discover a black-owned business. I buy a lot of hair supplies, so when I find a black-owned beauty supply store, I'm very quick to let people know there's a black-owned beauty supply store here, you know, or there's a black-owned grocery store, or there's a black-owned this or black-owned that. You know, it's important for us to recycle our money within our community, because so many other communities, that money changes hands like 7, 8, 9, 10 times, except for us. You know, we get our paychecks, cash them, and then next thing you know, the whole check is gone up to somebody else. You didn't spend none of that money within your community.
Yeah,
So it's very important for black people to invest in their own community.
Absolutely. Yeah, black restaurants. I just posted 50 black restaurants in Atlanta that we gonna go to. We just gonna
we're
go down the whole
going.
list. So definitely want to do that. Thanks for that, Mel. Anybody want to add anything to that portion?
Buying and banking black is, I just wanted to speak to the fact that economic power is what really speaks in this country. They don't, I hate to say it this way, but they don't respect our lives. It's just the truth of it. They never have. But they respect our money. They respect that money. Black buying power, spending power in this country is I believe, $1 trillion of the economy. And the fact that, like Melanie said, the turnover in our own communities is less than 2 times, if even that much. So I've recently, maybe in the last year, really realized for myself, at least this is what I believe, is that integration was used as a way to kind of dilute our spending power, because now, since we don't have to go to black businesses, we don't have to patronize them, we don't. When Walmart's moved into our neighborhoods and shut down our mom and pop stores, and forced our people, in order to survive on these low wages, to have to go to these cheap places that are owned by, you know, the Waltons, the biggest receivers, the biggest recipients of welfare in the nation, getting rich off of our backs, and then we're blamed for it. I just believe that buying and spending black, banking black, is going to help to build up our communities, because right now we don't have any resource pools. When we need a loan, where do we have to go? We have to go to Bank of America. We have to go to the big banks, and they quite often turn us down, even though that there are laws against it. We have seen our people get turned down for home loans historically, for business loans historically. So if we bank black, like Melanie said, $100 million can go really far in this community. You know, a lot of people think that opening a business takes, you know, a lot of money, and it really doesn't. You know, a business license, you know, starting to sell small things. But the thing is that people need to realize is that right now, it might be a little more expensive to buy black, but it's helping to build your community. You're not putting money in the pockets of our oppressors. So I think a lot of people, you know, become selfish in their ways, and that's one of the reasons that they did integration, was because we become more selfish. We're no longer our brother's keeper. So remember, spending black is helping yourself, helping your children, helping your grandchildren to, you know, grow up to be rich eventually. In this country, we don't own a lot of things, but we can change that if we all work together, and if we boycott, you know, these big corporations who also, at the turn, use our money to invest in private prison institutions and help the pipeline that way. So it's all interconnected. Do the research, figure it out. But buying black might be more expensive right now, but it's a payment towards our future.
Absolutely, and we're not buying from Target until August 8th.
And please never shop at Walmart.
And just so for those of y'all who, you know, it doesn't have to be just Target. It could be, because I've seen other things with Target, Walmart, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks. You know,
it's going to be a new business every month. One business every month.
Okay.
And there's
I'm shopping most of those, so
no.
This month is Target. Just FYI. I'm trying to get down this list as quickly as possible, and we got to get you guys out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for participating. Mentor a child, either at a school or at a Boys and Girls Club. I recommend you go to a school in a particular, maybe a low-income neighborhood, work with them there, or Boys and Girls Club. You can figure out what works best for you, but I definitely think you need to go grab a child that doesn't have leadership in their life. You grab a child, man.
Well,
Got you.
and a
We're
lot
gonna
of
take
us,
your
real
whole
talk,
life.
we can look directly at our families as some of the children that might be at
Right.
risk in our own families, right? It takes a village to raise a child. Turn inward to your village and see if anyone there needs help as well. You know,
Hell yeah.
let's keep it moving.
Pick an elected official to bother. A congressman, a senator, a councilman. Find somebody in your city that is a decision maker and email them 3 times a week, call 3 times a week, whatever. Make 3 contacts a week. If we all pick somebody and we all do that, then a lot of us are going to pick the same person. And that means that 3 calls a week is going to turn into 80 calls a week. And that's that. I think changes made. It changes legislated locally.
Make your demands. Make them known.
Yeah,
Yes.
start
Contact
local and work your way
district
out.
attorneys, your assistant DAs, your sheriffs, you know, all those people. Make sure you reach out.
Remember,
to people.
these
Make your
cops
demands
work for
known.
civic governments. They work
They
for
work for
city
you. They
and
work for
state
us.
governments, municipalities. So start local.
If you're not gonna work for us, you're gonna be up out of there.
That's right. And continue to comply. I mean, it's a scary time, it's a confusing time, it's an angry, emotional time. But you get pulled over, that might not be the time to turn into a revolutionary.
It's definitely not the time to turn into
It's
a
not.
revolutionary.
And fellas, I know we've been going through it for a long time. I've been pulled over by police so many times. Sometimes I handle it the way I'm telling y'all to. There's other times when I act the ass. But I want to say this, ladies, you don't get to act the ass either. I think a lot of times women go, well, I'm a woman, ain't gonna do nothing to me.
No, that means nothing.
And remember Sandra Bland, and I don't think she acted belligerent at all. I think she
She
was
just
very
asked
eloquent.
questions.
She spoke out, and she demanded to be treated a certain way, and we saw how that ended up. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, ladies, for joining the discussion. Thank you, everybody on Facebook. I think that it's a conversation that needs to be continued. It isn't done. We're going to continue in our Facebook group, New to Man Show with JBFRANK. Everybody that's watched on Facebook Live, I'll add you to the group. And if you enjoy it, you can stay. If not, you can leave. But I'll invite you in to continue the conversation. Shout out to Chanel that called in. Solomon the God was supposed to be on tonight. We couldn't get him on tonight, but I want to try to make sure we get him on going into our next season. We were supposed to be on break, and it's probably our longest show of the year.
Had to do it though, man.
I don't know what we're going to do next week. The show is on hiatus until August 21st. But as things come up, we'll find ways to communicate with you guys.
Yeah, we're not gonna leave you in the dark. We are the Black CNN. We're never gonna do that. It's just a lot going on. Pray with us and pray for us as we all try and move forward. Knew I had to step up and deal with some Facebook Live foolishness. So now I'm just running my mouth until he sits back down so we can finish with our traditional tag. Good night and God bless y'all. We love you.
Uno, we out.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, Black.
Bye.
Bye, Black.
Blank,
And
blank,
bang.
black.
Bang Black.
Grow some vegetables.